Welcome everyone to our webinar about MT Sobek Adventures in the Galapagos. My name is Charmin and I'm the Program Director for Latin America at Mountain Travel Sobek. And I'm super excited to be joining my colleague and our excellent longtime guide, Luis Die, to talk about what makes the Galapagos such a special destination and about what sets our MT Sobek trips there apart. Just a quick introduction. I spent a summer living in Quito, doing public health work, volunteer public health work in small communities in the Andes Highlands, north of Quito. And the first time I got to the Galapagos was on a family trip with my two sons, who were at the time 8 and 11 years old. And it was an absolutely magical trip. And we all still agree it was the best family vacation we ever took. So pretty hard to top. And I've also had the pleasure of spending a lot of time in the Galapagos with Luis and with our groups. And I know you're in for a really amazing travel experience if you travel there with us. So I will just get started here. Want to quickly show you a little bit of a roadmap of what we'll talk about on this webinar. And most of the time it will be Luis talking, since he is really our expert, but we will cover just some quick general introduction of where the Galapagos Islands are, what makes them so special. A lot of people ask about when is the best time to go, so we'll talk about that. And then why go with us? What do we do that's different? And then if you're trying to decide between a cruise-based program or a land-based stay in the Galapagos, we'll talk about what the differences are there. Talk about how active the experience is, whether you do cruising or land-based, and then get into some detail about each of the different itineraries that we have. First, covering our different cruise-based options, including also private cruise charters, and then talking about our land-based adventure that is a private option. And finally, we offer a number of different extension options, both on the mainland in Ecuador and also to Peru and Machu Picchu. And last, we'll just go over what dates we have coming up and leave some time at the end for questions for Luis. But before I turn it over to Luis, I did want to just quickly give him a little bit more of an introduction. He is as I said, our head naturalist guide in the Galapagos. And he and his wife, Irene, are also our operations team in Ecuador. Luis was actually born in Spain and grew up in Spain and earned his undergraduate degree in environmental biology and then a master's degree in ecology in Spain before he came to the Galapagos in 1999 to start guiding. So he's been guiding in the islands since that time. He lives in Quito, and he and his wife, Irene, own a small piece of land also on Santa Cruz Island in the Galapagos. I thought it would be really fun. I can definitely attest that Luis is an amazing guide, but I want to also share a few quotes from our past travelers with Luis. It will take just 1 minute. So here are some of the words that our guests say about Luis. Luis was the single best guide we have ever had over many, many years of outdoor adventures with numerous different companies. That's one guest. Luis was a wealth of information, also very supportive. On my first time out snorkeling, I wasn't used to breathing through the tube. Luis said, "Take my hand and we will swim together." It was so comforting and reassuring. He and the crew were always offering a hand on rocky paths. Luis makes sure that everyone is having a good experience. He has a deep affection for the Galapagos and is incredibly warm, approachable, and fun. And one guest answered, "What did you like best about your trip?" Our guide, Luis. He's so knowledgeable, personal, and also caring, interested in all of us, and looked after every single person so well. He was very aware of the different levels for snorkeling and hiking and made sure all had the best possible experience. We've had some great guides before with MT Sobek, but he was certainly the best and in a league of his own. And then Luis is the most fantastic guide you can ever have, as he is as excited about your vacation as you are. This is so true. And then the last one, Luis is the magic sauce that made this trip so memorable. No other guide can match Luis's enthusiasm, knowledge, personality, and friendliness. So I just thought those were some great quotes, and we just consistently get 5-star reviews for Luis. So couldn't be more pleased to introduce Luis and turn the mic over to you.
Well, thank you, Sharman, and thank you everybody for attending this webinar about the Galapagos. I hope to see you in person in the future. But yeah, we're going to talk about the islands. We're going to talk about why are the islands so special, so unique. I ask clients very often what have been their favorite nature trips in their lives, because some of our clients are very well traveled and have been everywhere, some of them. And there's three places that always come out in the first places, like the most magical, unique adventures in terms of wildlife. One is Africa, obviously, with the safaris and all the game parks. The other one is Antarctica, for those few lucky ones that have been. And the third one, always there, is Galapagos, and it's truly a unique place that I'm going to try to explain why they're so unique. So first of all, welcome to everybody, and just the main question: where are the Galapagos? The Galapagos are far. They are out in the middle of nowhere in the Eastern Pacific. They belong to the Republic of Ecuador. In fact, you have to access the Galapagos always starting from Quito, from Guayaquil, and there's roughly 600 miles off the coast west of Ecuador. They are south of Central America, and you can see it in that little in the map, in that little box where the Galapagos are. There's approximately 13 larger islands, a bunch of different rock and islands, all of them volcanic. Everything in the Galapagos is volcanic, and they are, although they look like tiny, they are relatively big. They are 3,000 square miles, but they're surrounded by a marine reserve which is massive. It's 66,000 square miles, one of the largest marine reserves in the world. And not only that, but that marine reserve, which is very rich, is connected with marine reserves from Costa Rica and Colombia, which allow the species of whales, dolphins, and sharks to travel safely, or relatively safely, from fishing fleets in between Central America and the Galapagos. So that makes a corridor that is extremely important in the Eastern Pacific. And anyway, so that's why it takes the Galapagos is quite far away. Next, please. They are volcanic. The Galapagos are entirely volcanic, like the Hawaiian Islands. In fact, the volcanology that we have in the Galapagos is very similar to the volcanology of Hawaii. Galapagos is famous for the animals, for Darwin also, for the wildlife especially, but for volcanologists and for geologists in general, it's a very special and very unique place, as it is the second most active group of islands in the world after Hawaii, which it shares a very similar volcanology. You're going to see when you visit volcanic landscapes everywhere, many of them very dry, other ones covered by forests with giant cactus. And we have eruptions. We have some lucky visitors get to see an eruption in the Galapagos, because we have one roughly every 3 years. Here there's a boat, Zodiac, you can see the picture of a Zodiac of some extremely lucky people that we got a fantastic eruption with lava pouring into the sea. And it's one of the most amazing experiences, nature experiences. You can have an eruption like the ones that happen in Hawaii. They're gentle. They're not really very dangerous because they don't tend to explode and blast, but they are just rivers of lava and fountains of lava that we get to see every 3 to 5 years, more or less. Next. And yeah, the Galapagos, because they are volcanic and they are dry, you're going to see some very barren landscapes like this one. This is one of the most iconic views of the Galapagos in Sullivan Bay, Bartolome Island. Some of the landscapes are barren, and they're going to be there forever, like this forever, simply because it doesn't rain very much. Only in the highlands of certain Galapagos major islands you can see lush green forest, but the majority of the Galapagos is very barren. It can be completely barren, lava fields like in the past pictures, or even this one, or it can have a shrub. In other ones, it has a kind of dry forest. But a lot of the Galapagos landscapes are like this, which doesn't mean that they're empty of wildlife. They do have wildlife. It's just that the landscapes are very dry. And we'd explain why the Galapagos, being in the equator, is so dry. Next. So why are the Galapagos Islands so special? The Galapagos are so unique, really, because there is a strange combination of the cold world of southern South America together with the tropical world. We're in the equator. The equatorial line goes right through the Galapagos Islands. So these should be islands that are tropical, like other tropical islands. There should be jungles, there should be water, there should be lakes. There's nothing like that in the Galapagos, and that's because we're located in a very special place, a place with three major ocean currents meet together: Humboldt Current, the Cromwell Current, and the Panama Current. The Humboldt and the Cromwell are very cold waters, and they make the Galapagos cold during half of the year. And that's why we have cold water species from southern South America, such as penguins and sea lions and fur seals and groupers and anchovies. Species are typical of the cold world of southern South America. But at the same time, we have the Panama tropical current that shows up in this time of the year, right now from January to May. And that brings tropical conditions that allow species like angelfish, butterfly fish, parrotfish, and other ultimate tropical families that are together in the Galapagos. Only in the Galapagos you're going to find that incredible combination of seeing a penguin swimming along with angelfish or with pufferfish, which are completely tropical, only in the Galapagos. And that's because we have this range of temperatures that go from high 70s to mid 60s and low 70s during the cold season. Because of this difference of temperatures, even though we're in the equator, there's no coral reefs. We have some coral species are resistant to these cold waters, but we don't have coral reefs like some people imagine that it's going to be because it's right at the equator. So that cold water brings an unusually rich water to the Galapagos and makes the Galapagos a lot more productive. In general, tropical areas are not very rich, aside from the coral reefs, but they're not very productive. But the Galapagos has this high productivity. That's why we have whales, we have dolphins, we have orcas, we have animals that are not supposed to be in the equator, and only in the Galapagos you're going to find them. Another important aspect of why the Galapagos is so special is because there's never been humans. We human Homo sapiens can be pretty bad for wildlife, and we've been very bad in other remote islands, but the Galapagos, a combination of factors, never was colonized by humans until recently. And when the humans started to live in certain numbers in the Galapagos, by then the Ecuadorian government was wise enough to decide to protect the islands, and they set aside 97% of the Galapagos, which is completely protected. Only 3% of the Galapagos is towns and private farms and some private properties, but 97% of the whole Galapagos is a national park. So all this combination of factors, the fact that humans never were able to establish, and there's one reason why they never established in the Galapagos until recently, is the lack of water. Lack of water is what has saved the Galapagos Islands from us, from humans, because whatever human being came, and the islands were discovered in the 1500s, but even before, the islands have been probably already occasionally visited by native people from South America, sorry, but they could never stay because it's so dry and so far away and so remote that they could never stay. So there's no proof of any human colonization until the 1500s, and even until really the late 1800s, nobody could establish a permanent colonization of the Galapagos. It was just too hard, too remote, and too difficult. Next, please. So this isolation of the Galapagos Islands, this remoteness, is what has produced all this array of endemic and unique species. Also, because of this very unique fact that it was never colonized by people, the animals are completely fearless. There's very few places in the world, when you think about, where humans have not established themselves. Even the whole Pacific Ocean, with all these hundreds of islands, were eventually colonized by Polynesian people. But the native people, the Indians from the coast of Ecuador and Peru, were not open water navigators. They were more like coastal navigators, so they never dared to come to the West. So there's never been people, and the wildlife has been evolving. So what you will see when you visit the Galapagos is pretty much how the Galapagos has been in the last thousands of years, with very, very little changes. We can talk a little bit about changes, but this is the best preserved group of islands in the world. We have problems of conservation, but still, compared to most islands in the world, like we haven't lost any major species of animal in the Galapagos Islands, one species of birds, compared to other places like Hawaii that have lost 50% of the species of birds. And that allows the animals are not used to us. They don't see us as a threat. They never had to confront us, humans. So they've never lost their natural behavior, which is not being scared of humans, because we don't look like anything, like any predator. The only predator in land is the Galapagos hawk, and definitely we don't look like a hawk. And the predators for the marine life is in the water, which are sharks. So they're not scared of people, and that's the beauty of the Galapagos. And this uniqueness of the Galapagos, with all these unique species, question Darwin when he came to the Galapagos, and he started thinking about how a species could have formed, why in the Galapagos has all these different species that exist nowhere else. Next, please. Species like the famous, our most iconic and probably the symbol of the Galapagos, the giant tortoise. There were giant tortoises in many other places, in the Indian Ocean especially, many islands, remote islands. They were all eaten except for one other place. And the Galapagos, simply because we're so remote, that humans could never establish. And that's why we have a lot of giant tortoises. Next. And reptiles. We have a very reptilian fauna. Darwin was surprised. He was expecting a kind of a tropical paradise, and he arrives, and a lot of the land fauna were reptiles. Reptiles that take the position of the absent mammals, because they had to travel to the Galapagos for 600 miles. Land mammals could not colonize the Galapagos in general. So the reptiles have taken that open space, that position, and all these species have evolved: marine iguanas, land iguanas, giant tortoises, behaving sometimes in as the mammals, being the main herbivore. Like the giant tortoise is our main herbivore, the land iguanas is another herbivore, and that's because of the absence of mammals that in normal conditions will be the dominant of the ecosystem, not in the Galapagos. Another unique thing about the islands. Next, please. And obviously fauna that is completely fearless. As I say, they didn't have time to learn. Fortunately, they never learned fear to humans, because by the time humans started to visit the islands or settle the islands, the park had already been created and had already started to put some certain rules that make that all this wildlife behave exactly like when Darwin or people before Darwin came to the islands, and were surprised by how fearless where the wildlife was, completely ignoring people. And when you go snorkeling, is the same thing. The animals are curious, especially sea lions are natural curious, and there you can see sea lions posing for pictures. When you try to take pictures of people, often the sea lions come and pose for you, because they also seem to be to want to be in the picture, simply because they're very curious and very playful. Next. So that's one thing that we do a lot on our trips to the Galapagos. We try to show you as much as we can, to experience as much as we can. And one of the best experience definitely is the snorkeling part of the trip. We we maximize the opportunities to snorkel with penguins, with turtles, with sea lions, with lots of very colorful fish. But we snorkel every day. We try to snorkel every day, at least once. Sometimes we can do it twice. Obviously, it depends on the conditions, it depends on the group. Some people wants to do a lot more snorkeling. And when I ask people at the end of the visit, what was the most favorite part of the visit to the Galapagos, it's surprising the number of people that says snorkeling. Snorkeling was just absolutely fantastic because it's easy, even for people that have never done it, and you just see a lot. In your people that has never snorkeled before, sometimes they come to the Galapagos, they do the first snorkel, and the first day they snorkel and they swim with sea lions, with sharks, with turtles, and maybe even a penguin in the first snorkel. So we see a lot because we have a very rich ocean, very productive ocean, which is fantastic for snorkeling. Next, please. And well, we have all kinds of wildlife, a lot of birds, and obviously some of our iconic species like the blue-footed boobies, which are pretty much everywhere. And regardless of what itinerary you take, you're going to see these species, blue-footed boobies, one of our iconic and really funny animals to see. Next. And all kinds of birds, from albatross, the wave albatross, the bird there with the large yellow beak that is only found in Española, to penguins. That's often a surprise to people. I mean, you don't expect to see penguins right at the equator. In fact, these are the only equatorial penguins. These are the only penguins that you can technically see north of the equator is in the Galapagos Islands. One of these oddities that should not happen, but they do happen because of these unusually cold waters that we have around the islands. And tropical species at the same time as we have uh, penguins, we have frigate birds ballooning there with a beautiful balloon that they inflate to attract the females. Two animals that should belong to completely different worlds, and they're together in the Galapagos. Next. One of the questions we often get, and surely the people in the offices also always get it, is when to go to the Galapagos. And the reality, as a guide, I can tell you, we do have 2 seasons. We don't have 4 seasons. We only have two, which we call the warm and rainy, and the cold and dry. Now, even the rainy season is not really that rainy. You can come to the Galapagos in the rainy season, maybe rain one or twice in the whole week trip, in the whole trip, because the islands are dry. It's just that all the rain of the year, which is not very much, falls normally from in this time right now. From January to May, we have the majority, 80% of our rain is going to fall on that. But still, it's not a lot of rain. You're not going to have rain every day. In this time of the year, January to May, we tend to have calmer seas because there's not much wind, higher temperatures, both in air and also in the water. We tend to have better visibility, but that's a little tricky. You never know. And it's fantastic for snorkeling because we don't really need wetsuits. And in the cold season, which normally starts May, June, that's the transition time. When we switch seasons, we get colder waters arriving to the Galapagos. We get more wind, and with the wind, obviously, there's more waves. So it's going to be more. The sea is going to be rougher. How rough? It depends a lot. There's really no weather prediction. And for those of you that you're going to come, don't bother on checking on Weather Channel because really there's not a reliable um, weather prediction about the islands because it's never extreme. You're never going to have. We don't have tropical storms. We don't have typhoons. We don't have hurricanes ever. So you can have windier days or choppier. You can have calmer days, but you're never going to have weather that is extreme. That's why people that comes in the cold season often tell me, well, I'm glad I came in the cold season because there was so much activity and the weather wasn't that cold. And people that comes in the warm season tell me, oh, I'm glad I came in the warm season because it wasn't really too warm and the water was nice and we saw a bunch of wildlife. So really, although you're going to see slightly different things, we don't have very defined seasons that will make a radical change. And here you have, for example, a chart of the temperatures, and where you see the air temperature, when you see the water temperatures, you can see that it's pretty much stable. They can be days that where there's a welling of a pocket of cold water coming up to the surface, where the temperature can drop not to 70 Fahrenheit, the water temperature, but to 66 or to 67. And sometimes it will go more than the water temperature will go more, even up to 80, but those are exceptional circumstances. Um, in general, the weather, as you can see, is pretty even with not extreme temperatures, neither in air nor in the water. Next. And here's a chart of just whoever is curious. You can probably ask the office to send it to you. But for example, if you read, I'm not going to read this because it's too long. But for example, in February, what happens in terms of wildlife for American flamingos? Start nesting in Floriana, although that changes from year to year. Penguins don't like the warmer waters, so they tend to move to cooler waters. In Isabella, they do little migrations. Um, or some seabirds start nesting. The warm water birds, seabirds like Nazca boobies, also, marine iguanas are nesting. Sea turtles are nesting right now. They're mating and nesting right now. So there's a lot of activity in February. But if you go to one of the colder months like August, sea lions are giving birth in larger quantities. And now is a peak for seeing albatross in Española. The advantage in the Galapagos is because we don't have these extreme seasons. You can see the very same day in the same colony of seabirds, let's say boobies, blue-footed boobies, you can see eggs, and other couples are doing their courtship while other couples are finishing with quite large chicks, all in the same day, because they're not very synchronized. Because rather than the season, when animals decide to breed when the conditions are good, when there's food, in the inland or when there's food in the water. So although there is certain tendency for animals to breed in certain times of the year, the majority of the animals give birth to pups or have eggs whenever the conditions are good, and that changes quite a bit. Next, please. So why go to the Mount Travel Sobek? I'm going to pass the words to Charlotte.
Thank you, Luis. Hopefully, if you have not already been planning to go to the Galapagos, you are now inspired to go. That was amazing. And then in terms of choosing who to go with, I would just like to say a few things about what makes us different. First of all, we have over 55 years of experience, which is pretty extraordinary. We were really one of the first companies. We've been organizing Galapagos trips since 1970, was when we had our first Galapagos sailing cruise with the Sierra Club. So a lot of years of experience, and that also applies to our staff. Many of our staff have been to the Galapagos and are passionate about the destination. Small group experiences. We always have a maximum of 16 guests on all of our trips, whether it's a cruise program or a land trip. So that really, I can't kind of emphasize enough how important that is and how much of a difference it makes. Once you've been, you'll definitely see it. And we see it all the time in the evaluations. The guests come back and say, I'm so glad I was on a small boat and not one of the 50 or 100 passenger boats that you see. It gives you more access, more flexibility during excursions. So when you see a big ship come up, they are sending wave after wave after wave of Zodiacs to shore. And then the last people are going to arrive And then the first people are already leaving. So they have much less time on shore than we do because we're just all together. We come with our guide, Luis. You're going to have a Luis with you the whole time. You're not changing guides from one day to the next. And he gets in the water with you as well for the snorkeling. It really is just a completely different experience to be on the smaller trips. And then, like I've been talking about Luis before, our guides really are the best. Decades of experience with graduate degrees in biology. And then also to, not everyone is aware that we operate our own trips in the Galapagos, that Luis and his wife Irene are our operations team. So they're dedicated to Mountain Travel Sobek. And really, when you go, you're part of our family there. You are treated as individuals, not as, one of hundreds of guests. They really are focused on just our one group that's there and tending to every little detail. And we are also very committed to conservation in the Galapagos and contribute to conservation groups, including the Galapagos Conservancy. We have annual contributions from the company, and we also have amounts that we contribute per guest when you book with us. I'll turn it back over to you, Luis.
So thank you, Sherman. So a question that people ask often is, should I go on our trips on a cruise or on a land base? And next, the reality is that um, cruising in these small boats, cruising. Sometimes people don't like the word cruise or cruising because they assume it's just a place where you're gonna sit and eat and drink. But these are really not like that at all. When we go into boats, we are doing activities all the time. We start early, we go for a hike, then we return, we change rapidly, we go snorkeling, then we have some time off or we go kayaking. But the idea is to maximize our opportunity to see wildlife. So we are always doing activities. And the being on a cruise obviously allows you to go to remote islands with less people and a lot of wildlife. Islands like Española or Genovesa are only accessible by cruise. You cannot visit them from a hotel. And so really is the best way to see all the biodiversity of the Galapagos Islands. Also, because we do our navigations at night, you arrive early morning and you are already there. So you have spent several hours moving at night while you're sleeping, and you have more time to do the visits. Um, Also, the time that we're cruising from island to island is great opportunities to look for whales and dolphins. So the cruises are really fantastic. Next, please. And as I say, observing, looking for wildlife from the sun deck while we're doing our navigations. Next. Or relaxing. We are not only it's not like we have to do everything. Some people says, no, I'm not gonna do this excursion. I'm just gonna relax on board. Well, it's completely up to you, but there are plenty of opportunities also to just enjoy being on the boat if you prefer, while you look for whales and dolphins while you watch the sunsets. Next. The land-based activities I really recommend it for people that are definitely are not comfortable of being on a boat because they get seasick or because simply it's not their thing. That's an alternative to see the Galapagos and to have a good experience. We use really nice hotels right by the water. We normally visit two islands plus Baltra, the one in which we land. These are private trips. We don't have scheduled departures. So if anybody's interested in this all the way to see the Galapagos, you have to contact us and check for possible departures. But these are private departures where it can be 4 people or 6 people, and we obviously, because we're much smaller, uh, we try to adapt more the activities to what people want. Some people wants to be more in the water, so we spend more time in the water. Some people wants to do more hiking, so these type of programs allow more longer hikes and do more activities. Some people wants to do a little of everything, other people wants to just do photography, and we can sit because it's maybe only 4 of you or 2 of you or 6 of you. So that in that sense, it has a bit more flexibility. But either in the case of the cruises or the land base, we're going to have a schedule because everything is regulated by the Galapagos National Park. It's not like you can do whatever you want and go wherever you want in neither case. But in the land base, we have a bit more flexibility to depending on what is your preference. Next. For example, here, both cruises and landing, we're doing hiking, we're doing wildlife, we're looking for wildlife. Whenever we can, we do a bit of kayaking, a lot of kayaking, depending. And we also snorkel, as I said before, hiking, snorkeling, kayaking, and in the land base, we can even go do some biking if people wants to. Next. And in both cases, we look for wildlife. There's time to take a nap or just to be out there looking for seabirds, for dolphins, for whales, which are quite abundant in the Galapagos, and snorkeling. Snorkeling is, as we talk many times, is part of our activities that we try to do as much as we can because it's fantastic.
I will
Yeah,
take
you
over with
take it.
this one. Yeah, just this is a chart to give you a general sense, an overview of the different itineraries that we offer. There we have 3 different itineraries that involve cruising aboard these 16 passenger yachts and catamarans. And so the difference between the 3 cruises, just in a nutshell, is really the length of the cruise and what it's combined with. So for the first 2, we are pairing the cruise with some time in Quito before and after. And it's either a 7-night cruise that's an Eastern loop or a 5-night cruise that's a Western loop. And we'll talk a little bit more in detail what these itineraries are. And then the third option is to combine a shorter cruise, a 4-night cruise, with a stay in the Amazon, the Ecuadorian Amazon. So that's a nice package also for people who want to combine different ecosystems and wildlife realms that are completely different. And then we also offer private charter. So any of those cruises that are above, we can do on a private basis. You can either take a date that's already on our website if there's nobody already booked, or we can look into new dates for you. And then we also have one other cruise option on our website aboard a luxury catamaran called the Endemic that has private balconies. And that's a 7-night cruise. So that is also available. And then we do the land-based trips, like Louis said, that are private departures and involve little island stays close to the shore on 2 different islands.
So just very rapidly, because I'm afraid we're running a bit of time, but very rapidly, we have different itineraries that we use different boats. We use, for example, the Galaxy in a 1-week trip in the Galapagos. That's our longest trip, visiting what we call the Central and Eastern Islands, as you can see in the map. Um, is our longest trip. It covers many islands. It covers many different species. Next, please. So in this kind of trips, you're going to see tons of seabirds because we visit some of the best seabird colonies of the islands: red-footed boobies, blue-footed boobies, Nazca boobies, frigate birds, albatross. Next, for example, these are the albatross of Española. So this is a very complete trip, especially for bird watchers or anybody. And it has also great snorkeling. It has also many species. We see most of the most iconic and better known species of the Galapagos, almost all of them in this type of trip. Also fantastic beaches for families or also for adults. So it's a really complete trip that I love guiding because it provides such a great view of what the Galapagos is about. Next. And this is the Galaxy monohull, a boat that is very comfortable, great social areas. We can give you more details. Next, please. And fantastic food. It's surprising how these small boats Don't assume that is because it's a small boat, all you're gonna get is rice and beans. Not at all. The food is fantastic. The food is really good, and it just provide a very good level for to enjoy the Galapagos Islands. Another boat we use a lot is the Eco Galaxy, which is a catamaran, and we normally do a shorter trip of 6 days on the Eco Galaxy that goes to the west, to the Isabel and Fernandina, those two islands to the west are the ones that we cover. Also excellent wildlife. Next, please. With some of iconic animals like penguins, marine iguanas, sea lions, great snorkeling, great kayaking. This is the best area. These are the cooler waters of the Galapagos in general, and the best area to see whales and dolphins. But again, you will see many, many seabirds also and sea lions and some of the best species, for example, and combinations of animals, blue-footed boobies with iguanas and sea lions all together without bothering each other. Next, please. And this is the Cook Galaxy. As you see, a catamaran. Catamarans are wider, so they have more space. The cabins are bigger. The social areas are equally as good or even bigger than the Galaxy. Next, please. This is a deck plan. You can get a lot of information from the office. The cabins are really big in catamarans, just simply because they're so wide. They have plenty of space. Next. And this is a trip I love to do, and I always recommend people doing it if they can, is combining two completely different worlds in one trip, which is two of the iconic South American wonders, natural wonders. One is the Amazon rainforest, and the other one is the Galapagos. We've talked about the Galapagos, but the Amazon, we do it before the Galapagos, and we go to a lodge. You start from Quito, you fly there. The lodge is great, really, really comfortable. The food is fantastic, and we do excursions to look for wildlife. We climb to these canopy trails and canopy towers from there with scopes. We look for sloths and monkeys. We also visit the community, so we can have fantastic wildlife over there. Please, next. This is a view of the Amazon rainforest, which is so radically different than the Galapagos, and it's a lot safer than people think. People think that the Amazon is kind of dangerous. It's not. It's really, really safe. All you have to do is wear some mosquito repellent and cover yourself. And 2 days later, you're in the Galapagos, looking at reptiles, looking at snorkeling. So it's a fantastic combination of two
Oh, sorry.
completely different worlds that get together only in the islands. And then I pass it to you.
Sure. So, like I mentioned before, we do offer private cruise charters also. So, all those itineraries that Luis just described, we can also do on a private basis, chartering one of those 16-passenger boats. And then we also have the endemic available as an option. And we'll talk about the endemic next, actually.
Endemic is just a wonderful catamaran, luxurious and fantastic food, great cabins. They have private balconies, so it is a really good option if you have a group of friends or family that wants to charter a boat. They offer also 1 week trips on the islands plus the days in Quito. So highly recommended to visit the island. Really is high end, fantastic food, great service. So I really enjoy guiding there because it's just everything works perfectly fine. Thank you. And the private what we talked before, the land-based private, the islands that we visit. We stay in hotels. As we said before, we do visits in the morning. Please, next. We do hiking. We visit different places. We do short tours from the town. So we never really get into rough waters here. We never sleep on a boat. So it's a great idea for those of you that don't want to be on a boat because maybe seasickness. But we do a lot of hiking. We do larger hikings. This is one of the major volcanoes. Actually, that volcano erupted only 5 years ago. So, but it's beautiful landscapes and also great wildlife. And we do snorkeling. So even if we're land-based, we try to do as much snorkeling as possible. Next one, please. So the hotels we stay are beautiful hotels by the beach in Puerto Villamil and Casa de Marita. Next one. Or in Angamayo waterfront in Puerto Rico. And from there, we do the excursions. We do the excursions, we do go snorkeling, we go kayaking, we go hiking. It's a great program. Next, please. And finally, the extensions. Once you are in the Galapagos and in Ecuador, Ecuador is a mega diverse country. We have extensions of several days to do in Hacienda Zuleta, which is a beautiful hacienda from the 1500s, nested in the middle of the Andes with excursions. You can go biking, you can go horseback riding, very relaxed, very beautiful. Amazon with such a lodge, even if you don't take our Amazon and Galapagos combined, you can do an extension to any of our trips to the Galapagos. You can do before or after an extension to the Amazon at such a lodge in this beautiful lodge that will you'll see plenty of wildlife. Or some people wants to do more like bird watching close to Quito, Mindo, cloud forest. The cloud forests are the forests in the slopes of the Andes, which are extremely rich in species, especially hummingbirds and tropical birds. And then other people, since they are in Ecuador, they want to visit famous Machu Picchu in Peru, and they take a extension trip of 4 days to Machu Picchu and Cusco. That's something. Sometimes people do the opposite. They do Peru, and then they do an extension to the Galapagos Islands with us. Plus, near Quito, we have tours from one day to go to one of the major volcanoes. We're surrounded by volcanoes in Quito. And since you have at least one extra day, you can go to Mindo, you can go to one of the volcanoes
Otavalo.
nearby. Otavalo, if you are into cultural visits, you can do one of the Indian markets. Well, there's plenty of things to do. I mean, I encourage you to spend a few extra days once you come all the way to Ecuador to spend a few extra days visiting other things aside the Galapagos.
Absolutely. This just gives you a quick overview of the dates that we have coming up. We definitely do still have space for especially the last 6 months of 2026. Some of our early departures are already sold out, or we have just one cabin left on the May date for aboard Galaxy. But we also have all of our 2027 dates up on the website and available to book. So hopefully there's something in there that will be a good match for your schedule. And in terms of private cruise charters also, we're happy to take requests. There may still be opportunities for 2026. So if you're interested to go this year, do let us know as soon as possible and we can check what's available for you. And it's not too early to request a private cruise charter for 2027. And I would say for sure, if you're looking at holiday period over Christmas or New Year's, those 2 weeks are really the most in demand. And typically for a cruise charter, those often get snapped up 2 years or more in advance. So it's not too early even to be looking at Christmas 2028, New Year's 2029, if that's something that's important to you. And also to just to say upfront, those, because it's in such demand, those dates do involve additional cost and usually a higher deposit upfront and a little bit more locked in. But it's a really obviously unforgettable trip to do with family and friends over the holidays. So yeah, thank you so much, Luis. I'm gonna
Thank you, guys.
see now in our chat. Hopefully we've got some questions that have come in. Let me take a look.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, I think I go to the let me see. Someone is asking, when you go to Machu Picchu, do you hike the Inca Trail? We can do that as part of, if that's important, the 1 day hike on the Inca Trail, we can do that. The extension that we have that is available on the website, if you take a look, does not include that 1 day hike, but we can easily do that. And it's a great way to arrive at Machu Picchu, coming through the Sun Gate and seeing it down below you. Someone's also asking what inoculations might one need for the trip, including the Amazon. There's none that are required. And
No,
Louise, even this portion of the Amazon, most people don't take malarial medication. I was amazed by how few insects there were actually at the Sasha Lodge that we go to because it's on a lake. But there's something about, I'm not sure exactly why there aren't more mosquitoes there, Louise, if you
there's no
don't
mosquitoes.
mind.
I mean, there are
Yeah.
mosquitoes, but personally, I've never taken any malaria pills, and my kids have been many times, and we've never taken. You just have to be a bit careful about, covering yourself. But there's surprisingly few bugs there because there's so many insects. Sorry, so many birds and so many bats that eat the insects, and they don't breed in the lakes. And the lodge is by a lake because there's too many fish that eat every mosquito larva. So really, there's no many mosquitoes. You used to have a lot more mosquitoes for sure in Florida and other places in the summer in the U.S. than in the Amazon rainforest. It is surprising how few mosquitoes you have. So I mean, you don't have to worry about that. All you have to wear is long sleeves and put some bug repellent where in the ears and the neck and hands maybe, and that's it. Really, there's no
Yeah.
requirement of any vaccine or any medication to visit the Amazon. I know that some people take malaria because they want to be extra careful. That's up to them. I've never taken it myself.
The one thing about the Amazon I would say to be really aware of is the humidity. That's different than being in the Galapagos. And if you have the right kind of clothing, it works, that makes a big difference. So just really lightweight, quick drying clothes is what you need for the Amazon. That's kind of the most important thing, I think. The lodge provides you with ponchos because there can be a lot of rain and just humidity coming down. So they provide you with a poncho and also rubber boots. But important to have plenty of socks to wear with those rubber boots, and ideally some long socks that come up above, or you can tuck your pants into the boots, but that makes it more comfortable. Let's see. Somebody asked in what months are the albatross present, the waved albatross on
Okay, so
Espanola?
yeah, the albatross are most of the year at Española. You have to go to Española, otherwise you may see an albatross flying, very possible. But the albatross are in Galapagos from late March, I would say beginning of April better, until beginning of January. So most of the year, except for right now. Right now is like the worst time of the year to see an albatross because there's hardly any. You can be lucky and see one, but most likely you won't see if you come from mid-January until end of March, beginning of April. You're not going to see albatross.
Someone is also asking which itineraries are most popular for first timers to the Galapagos cruise wise.
It doesn't really matter too much unless you have a iconic species that you definitely want to see. For example, if you want to see the albatross, you have to go to Española. If you want to see the penguins, better go to the western itinerary that goes to Isabela and Fernandina because that's where the great majority of the penguins are. But the majority of the species of the Galapagos, you can see them in either itinerary, and you're going to see plenty of wildlife. So I I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know how to answer that because both itineraries, although slightly different, they're both really, really good in terms of wildlife. So
And we often
I
have
would,
people who've done one and then they come back and want to do the other. And it doesn't really matter which sequence you do that in.
yeah.
But it does kind of grab you and then you want to see what else is out there. And I think it has to do with some people think, oh, I don't want to be I like the idea of a shorter vacation and pairing it with some other things, and so they'll maybe choose it based on length. Or I've never gone to the Amazon and think I definitely want to include that, so they might choose our itinerary that combines both of them, where other people may want to do those as separate trips and do longer stays for both. Somebody also asked, do you recommend staying an extra night in both Santa Cruz and San Cristobal? So a night lodge
Yeah, that's
based
not a
on
bad
one of the
idea.
islands.
Sometimes when we finish, some people does that. They want to maybe because they want to relax or because they want to simply spend a couple of days, 1 or 2 days extra doing things on their own, that's not a bad idea. The majority of our clients honestly don't do it, but yeah, it's not a bad idea to do.
I think honestly, once you've been on the cruise, it can feel a little bit anticlimactic to then be at a lodge on the island because you're used to being by yourself out in the islands and everything. So, but if you want to have sort of more of a beach time, I mean, I love the island of Isabella for that. So sometimes people, if they're booking a private trip with us, we can customize it and make, add a night for you if you're doing the land trip and you want to be sure that you just have one day with nothing scheduled to do walks and snorkeling and walk on your own along the beach. That's a nice idea. Let's see, what about ticks? Somebody was
Ticks,
asking.
no ticks in Galapagos, none,
Mhm.
zero.
And
Nada.
the Amazon? No.
The Amazon, I've only seen maybe one time in my life I got a tick in my leg only, no leeches. I don't know why. That maybe it's because of the really acidic waters on the Amazon lakes. But you see all these movies about leeches climbing on you. That's absolutely not true for the Amazon, at least. And no ticks, really. No, I would be much more worried about going through a field with cows in the deforested Amazon than walking in the Amazon rainforest where I never see any tick.
Someone also asked if we could talk a little bit about the equipment that we provide for snorkeling.
Yeah, well, all the boats provide the basic snorkeling equipment, which is mask, snorkel, and fins. And then, depending on the season, some people decides to rent a wetsuit from the boat. There can be shorties, or they can be full wetsuits, depending on the boat, depending on the season. Because we do snorkel. Now, my personal recommendation is if you have your own mask, it's better to bring it because the mask is very personal. It has to fit well. And some people just bring the mask and they borrow the fins from the boat, which is not a bad idea, especially if you want to save some space. But that's what we provide on board. We don't scuba dive. That's a completely different type of boat. That's a completely different itinerary, but we do a lot of snorkeling.
Someone was also asking if we coordinate the flights from Quito to the islands, and we do. That is something that we always include and book those for you and handle that. So let's see. Someone was asking if we're going to send the recording out, and we will. So everyone who registered, whether you were able to join live or not, we will send you a link to the recording. And I think we might be winding down on our time. Just take a look if there's. I don't see more questions. So thank you so very much for joining us. I hope it's been informative. And we really look forward to seeing you in the Galapagos. Thank you so much, Luis.
Yeah, and thank you everybody for attending. And I hope to see you. I don't see any faces, just mine. But I hope to see you soon in the islands. It's a fantastic destination. It's for a lot of people is really one of the best vacations ever, as Sharman said at the beginning of the talk, and it's because it's very unique, it's very special, and there's only one Galapagos in the world. So I hope to see you in the future in one of our trips. And anyway, thank you for attending. Thank you, Sharman.